we've been starting to run data sets through with the new DATS mapping, and so we'll be sending those to you. Now, one question that we can get in later is we're seeing some varied performance with the NLP pipeline, and so I don't know what experience you had. So we can put that on in the parking lot for, I guess, after we get through the other items.
Say that again, Jeff.
So with the NLP part of the pipeline that we've integrated, we're seeing some very sort of variable performance. We're seeing some performance right now where it's taking up to like 30 seconds to process a document.
Okay.
With the NLP pipeline. So we don't have to talk about it right now. We can go through the rest of the agenda, but if we can keep that on the list for something to get back to at the end once we're done with the formal agenda.
Okay.
Sure, yeah. We can ask Charlene to log into this.
Okay. But you already have PDB updated, right?
Yeah, that's what we're running the full PDB. We started that on Friday,
right.
After we had the the call with Alejandra. But it's taking a lot longer now because of the NLP pipeline and some of the variability we're seeing in what it's taking to process documents. So that's why we want to touch base with you.
Okay. And also for the video.
Yep, we have the student coming on board, I think this week, end of this week, so that will move forward again.
Okay, and the timestamps, again, it's for the DataMed server, I guess Ruling is waiting for us to have the updated index before she will check on it again. And with the link out discussion, I guess there was a plan to get someone from NCBI involved. And this is something that we want to get to a little later, but we just don't want to forget about it, so we have it in the list of action items.
So a question about that, Anu, has my name against it. I'd not gone back over the notes from last week, so I'd not followed through on this. But one question was, I remember us discussing recently, rather than link out, we were discussing the question about logins and use of the PubMed login in connection with the shared logins with CD. And is that what we're talking about here, or are we talking about link out specifically?
No, we are talking about link out here. I think for the shared login, Ruling is going to maybe look into that to see what our options are. But this link out would be for users for us to be kind of like what are they called, vendors? No, they're called providers. They're called providers.
Yeah.
On
so
PubMed.
It would allow DataMed to effectively show up in a PubMed search.
Exactly.
Linked to from a PubMed search. Okay. Yeah, so there may be two things with NCBI that we want to follow up on here. All right, thanks.
So for the all hands meeting, I'm going to share my desktop because the agenda is available. So, okay, you can see my screen. So the all hands meeting is on Sunday, as I mentioned, and for those of you who won't be able to attend in person, we also have the Ready Talk. It's the same as what we have right now. That will be available, and the all hands meeting, I think especially the core development team presentations are going to be recorded. So you will have the option of viewing it later as well. And based on discussions, we actually have the agenda for the core development team. We'll have Hua presenting, doing the introduction, demo, and talking about the user interface. After that, Jeff will talk about the ingestion pipeline, indexing and ingestion pipeline, and Trevor will talk about the system evaluation, and Todd will talk about the usability testing. I know it says SWA again there with reference to the challenge, but I think Lucilla is going to talk a little bit about the challenge as well. So we probably, I don't know if we're going to talk again about the challenge or not. Lucilla has asked for some slides that should reach her probably by Thursday, I think, especially for the working group slides. But other than that, we need to get the slides ready. They said it would be nice if we could have some kind of a trial run before the actual presentation, since it's going to be recorded. But I don't know if we'll have time for that. Saturday night. Okay.
So, in terms of the timing, it looks like if there are 4 in that hour block, we're looking at like 10-minute presentations.
How long is the total time?
From 10:30 for the 10:30 to 11:30, there are 4 presentations, right?
Well, I think you can assume it's going to be 3. I don't know that we'll really talk a lot about the challenge.
But I thought 4. Me, Jeff, Travel.
Yeah, but you are before the
you
break.
have 40. You have 30 minutes.
Half an hour for your for the break.
Okay.
So that would be then, if it's 3 in the hour, that's, let's say, a little under 20 minutes.
Right. So maybe 15 minutes of presentation and.
Yeah, because we wanted more this time for discussion too. So what's the thoughts on length of presentation versus discussion? Would that be 5 minutes of discussion out of 20 minutes? Is that okay?
Or do you want to have like 10 minutes discussion? Or keep the presentations brief?
Yeah, I mean, this is a question to the group.
Either way, I think it's important to stay on the agenda timing, particularly if people are going to be calling in and it's going to be recorded. So we want to stick as close to the agenda times as we can.
And also, I think since it's going to be recorded, maybe for every part we're going to have at least 1 or 2 slides that will have quite a bit of the introduction.
How long do you need in Travel to present your work? 10 minutes is good, or you need more? Todd?
Yeah, sorry, I'm muted.
Okay. How long do you think you need for your talk?
I mean, I can certainly probably do it in 10 minutes and 5 with questions. It depends on how much of the old stuff we want to review. I don't think we want to go through, the stuff we've presented already. Just maybe summarize that, and mostly talk about the conundrum that we're in right now on how to do the summative evaluation, and then mention the more detailed evaluation of different components.
Right. Okay. So maybe we can 20 minutes for Jeff, 10 minutes for Travel, 10 minutes for Todd, and have 20 more minutes for discussion if that works.
I mean, I could do 15. That's fine. So we do 15, 10, 10, and then whatever's left for the challenge, and then we have.
So Lucilla said that she would like to talk about the challenge after she presents the working group 4 slide as part of the presentation of working group. I guess it was there, but I don't see it anymore. So.
That's fine. The challenge, I think just one slide, even I just show we're having, the whole message is we're having a challenge, just be aware, and if you're interested, participate. So it's not a big deal.
So we scroll down the agenda a little bit. and then we have the pilot projects.
And then you have all the supplements.
Yeah.
And some of the other presentations.
Yeah, so I think with those, what we want to see is the latest and greatest. We don't want a whole lot of background.
Okay. So that's going to be primarily it's going to be in the morning that we're going to talk about the CDT.
Mhm.
So I know Susanna is on the call. Susanna, did you need any slides from us for your dad's presentation?
Well, this is exactly what I wanted Anu to bring up with everybody on the call, because I just arrived today and tomorrow it's my only day at the office with Alejandra to sit down and understand from Alejandra what the status is and etc. Because I'm leaving on Thursday. I have other meetings prior our meeting in Denver. So my question is, given that this is an afternoon session, it's slightly different topic, but it's of course related to BioCAD. I want to read what Lucilla's goal for the afternoon is, and the reason why it's in the afternoon and not in the morning with the BioCAD presentation. So Lucilla says the goal is to consolidate various working groups on metadata. So I think we need to start showing the model again directly and the relation with schema.org so that we get more adopters. So I really wanted your view, guys. What do you think, that we should present? Because you already present implementation, although the implementation won't be on the latest model, or will it be? So this is the first thing to clarify. Is the presentation, is the demo that you're going to show run on the latest model or not?
Well, the demo won't,
Won't.
but my presentation will.
Okay. Okay. So
because that's moving from from the reconciliation now to the implementation. So.
okay. So say that this is the thing. So the implementation already be shown. I need to touch on the model because the scope of the afternoon is to try to somehow consolidate what we are doing with the Omics DI, with Mark, and etc. So because although we have the project with both Omics DI and Mark, they still have their own model. So I really would like to hear from Jeff, from Ian in particular, and Ron, what do you think should be the focus of the DATS presentation in the afternoon?
So one of the things, Susanna, that I think echoes what your concern was, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but the concern would be, DATS is the model that DataMed, that BioCAD is using, and this somehow sort of is in danger of portraying it as something different than that. Is that what you were sort of referring to by it being part of the afternoon session?
Kind of, yes and no. I understand that the reason why Lucilla wants to put me there is because they want to try to harmonize all this metadata modeling around data and objects, which also relates to the common data object working group. And that's the reason why, she put it there. And it makes sense in a way, but as you can see, there's slightly different presentation. If I were to present the data as part of the morning, which is the BioCAD, there will be, a subset of the user slide we have. But in the afternoon has a different scope, and I wanted to have your help in how we want to pitch that to
Well,
get
I think
somewhere.
it needs to be sort of shown, and I wonder if this can be done somehow that in a way that shows the intent that you just described better, because I don't think the agenda sort of really shows that at the moment. And if we want to make this, I mean, in a way, what you're describing is more of a working session that we would take. I don't know how far it goes, whether it's all the way down to the Aztec index as well. And the subject is around, I mean, first of all, like what the differences are between these approaches, but also the question of harmonization and the value in harmonization.
Okay, so I think you are getting where Lucilla wants to go, which I understand. My only concern is that we haven't managed to reach that point even through, the 1 year supplement with Omics DI. They have their own model, we have our own model. So I fear that they just present, and somehow nothing happens unless we have indeed a discussion after the pre-model and say, is there a point to harmonize? If there is, what can be done? If there is not, that's it. I mean, the point is, I do the presentation, but I need to understand where we're going with it, trying to pitch in a way that helps.
Well, me too, Susanna, and I'm feeling my way with it, and trying to work out if that approach, if the timing for that is appropriate. And I don't know. One of the questions is, I mean, I think from my point of view, to the extent that represents an NIH point of view, it would be good that these different efforts that we're funding have some harmony around that. Not just for the sake of having harmony, but because it delivers something to end users. And if somehow this was focused around how this, how this brings a consistency of approach that brings benefits to end users, then I think that's something to me that gets some momentum and identifies a reason for doing this. Now, I think such a story can be put together, but I think one's got to put it together in those terms, that this is, it's not an administrative thing or something just because it would be, to get everybody in line. It's because there's some benefit that comes from it.
Yeah, and to reinforce that, if at the end of the day, after this presentation and discussion, we can arrive at some action items that would actually bring it forward, then I think that would be a very profitable afternoon.
Okay, my only other, again, it goes back to, given that Lucilla wanted me to present the model, I kind of fear that the other are going to present the implementation and not the model. So again, I'm not sure the other know what the
from what you're saying, Susanna, I think we need to touch base back with Lucilla about this.
Right, we just don't have much time.
I know.
I will be traveling on Thursday, and I'm going to a Dryad board meeting right before, so all my days are full. That's why tomorrow I wanted to have at least an idea what I'm putting together. That's why, I've asked Jeff's help as well, because I think here it's more like a mix between the model and implementation, which of course you already presented the implementation morning. So to be honest, I'm a little bit uneasy to have this presentation in the afternoon detached, because as I say, the other will present, in my opinion, Henry will present the whole thing, the whole package. And I think so will Mark and probably Stephen. So having just me to present the model or around it, which of course in 15 minutes, I cannot go into the detail and it's pointless to go to, look at element by element. On the other side, I can only give the broader overview, but I'm not sure will be what the other will do with their 15 minutes, which I think they will focus on the implementation rather than on the model.
Well, in a sense, we're already at implementation of the model because Jeff is using it to map against.
But
this
I
is
think
the first time I've seen this version of the agenda.
Susanna, I think the other folks who are coming in, from what I understood, were actually going to start coming in only from 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So maybe you could just talk about the implementation because I don't know if they're going to be listening in onto Jeff's talk.
But then thank you, Anna, for bringing this up. But then that's important. That's why also it's important. That's why I want to be on this call because that perhaps is important that I share it with somebody the presentation, with Jeff, so that we can do a bit of this and that. So it looks
because the way it's laid out, I might have to add one DAT slide or one or two into mine in the morning.
So let's look close to the time. Although there is 30 minutes, Lucilla, in reality, she told me she wanted a 15 minutes presentation with the 10 minutes discussion. But perhaps we don't do that. We do a 20 minutes presentation that cover both the model and the implementation. Jeff, what do you think?
Well, so the question is if we go back, because the implementation of the model would be part of my talk in the morning, right?
Yeah. But can you repeat a part of it?
Yeah, we can repeat part of it. The question, yeah.
So I understood from Elizabeth, and the reason for putting all the other ones in the evening was because they're all going to start coming in only after 3 to the Biocandy all hands. So they probably will miss the prior session.
Okay, so let's then do this way. Jeff, more or less in terms of also number of slides, do you already have your set or you are still preparing it?
I'm still preparing, but I can have those tomorrow.
Okay, and more or less in terms of numbers, so that we put something together that doesn't go over the 20 minutes, which still leaves 10 minutes for questions.
Right.
So I'm going to aim for like 10-ish for the dots.
Yeah, because I'm in the morning, it's only going to be around no more than 15 minutes, just because of the time constraints.
Okay.
So, you could go a little more than 10 minutes probably, because I could do a recap in a few slides.
Okay, but generically, given so the idea is always to present the DATs as broader in general, the alignment with schema.org. With Alejandra, we can work tomorrow to show that there is a mapping to omics, DI, what they have, what we don't have, and the mapping with Biocandy. So it will be a mix of introducing the DATs and also give this update on the mapping with the omics, DI, and Biocandy, so that from our perspective, we show what the relation or the links or the overlap of the gaps are. And then I hand over to you for the implementation, and we can put the slides together, of course. What do the others think?
I think that would work.
Yeah, I think keeping it fairly loose and not doing too much more with it than having these presentations next to one another is a good thing. But I think raising the question of somehow of the integration and how these can be synergistic, as is highlighted in the sort of overall title for this session for the afternoon, I think that would be worth doing. I mean, I could put some thoughts together about that and share them with Lucilla and see if that's what she was thinking.
That will be great in a sense that if you were to set the scenes of also, so that even when the question are asked and the presentation are made, we think them, having a goal in mind, which is the one, that you are just saying it. I think will make much sense. Otherwise, it will be just a series of, presentation. I show you what you have, and you show me what you have done. But
Susanna, this is Dawei. You may already cover this, but I just want to make sure that I think the one aspect, like say, how to make repositories to use DAS instead of Valcadi to do the mapping for everyone. If there is some examples that you can present from the perspective like how repositories adopt the DAS, I think that may be a useful perspective to put in.
That's a very good point. But actually, now the question is from me to the dev team. Have you had any, after the workshop that was held in June, have you had any repository who exported the DAS on their own? And you did
There's
not
some
have
that are working on it, but none that are done, right? So
that way, here is the answer. We don't have yet that example because the workshop was in June.
So how about the Omics DI? Do they index their data or like the Valcadi is trying to index Omics DI?
Well, so at the moment they don't, but we have done the mapping between the Omics DI model, which is very, very simple. Well, when I say we, I mean Alejandro and Philippe, to the Omics DI model to the DAS model, so that they can implement that. Interestingly enough, even we have been working with them, that was not part of the supplement for them to export into the DAS model. So, but they seem to be interested in doing it. So, but that's exactly that way. The reason why it would be good to have an introduction to this section because we have helped them to do the mapping. Now, indeed, it would be nice if they were exporting into the DAS format, and we can index. I think that's where we are going exactly with this session. Well, in the case.
Yeah. No, I think from the to engage the communicating engagement point of view, I think even there's no examples like if like there's a plan to see how the repository going to be used as. That's going to be very important because I think that will address the scalability. How you're going to get index all the data out there.
Right. Perhaps I'm not sure I understand your question. Well, I do understand that you are asking me to show how the other repository will, but the truth is this is not going to be different from the JATS and PubMed. If you want to be indexing PubMed, you have to send to PubMed your JATS file. So in that case, there is no need for the stick because everybody wants to be indexed in PubMed. And so the journal exported the JATS file to PubMed. the idea here is the same, but with the difference is that DataMed is a prototype, and it's not something that, it's not the equivalent of PubMed yet. So we have provided the databases with the format, the DAX, with the serialization in JSON and etc. Everything is there. The problem is, and then things like the workshop in June, we are holding their hands to export it, but I'm not sure what else we can do unless we do it for them, which is not what we want to do.
Yeah, I think I totally see your point. I think the things what I think, I don't know if there is a further development of that, is like, say, the feedback at the workshop is that there are some repositories think the metadata model is too complex, and like, say, is that an issue of, say, the adoption issue, or is that an issue, like, say, is if we want them to do it or not?
Well, to what extent did we actually follow up with them after the June workshop to ascertain their interest and their commitment to doing so?
Well, I think I would go. I think with Dawei was picking up on it. I think there was certainly a big question to me over the level of complexity of DATS 2 and whether that was something, or it was over the extended DATS. There was a question over whether that's something that the repositories could fulfill. And I think, to me, the takeaway from that workshop is not so much asking the question, but I think that issue has been raised, and I think we need to find a way of dealing with it. I think we kind of got the answer to the question there and then, that there is an issue with that.
But we have the answer already, Ian. The reason why there is a core and extended, it's exactly because you only need to provide a core. If that's it, if that's, it will qualify. The problem here is, it's not the model. Here, it's not the DATS model the problem. It's anything we do. One element of 20 elements of 100 elements, you always find a person that says, oh, it's too simple, doesn't answer my question.
I agree with you.
It's too complex. This is the thing. So.
Well, I think the balance we have to find, Susanna, is certainly that we have a model there that we're asking some people to do something that is achievable. And I think it's not so much a question of whether, it's not their reluctance to do it. It's a question around, are we looking at its feasibility and whether it's something that they can actually fulfill? Which means they have to be honest with us that the issue is not one of, oh yeah, we just don't want to do it. It's just a question of it being hard to do.
I agree, definitely. Okay, so the only thing I can certainly do is to indeed stress on the core, how small the core is, and and the extended is there because they are query, which of course the absence of more specific element you are not going to meet, but this is no way mandatory. Actually, nothing is mandatory in the model. Of course, this doesn't answer Daiwei question, but probably Daiwei, there is no answer to your question.
Yeah, I think I realize that, but I think it may be useful to present the challenges to the audience. I think that it it is an issue, and in a sense, it is an issue for all the standards.
But,
they're
yeah, this is the point. Exactly. What you are saying is important because this is not just the challenge of that. I mean, even people that get the DOI, mint DOI, and need to provide DOI metadata back to data site, that metadata, it's not more complex than the core does. So here the point is, it's not how complex it is, it's what is the benefit people see in making that effort. You know, people have to send the DOI metadata back to data site. They have to, not because they want to, but they have to. And you know, at the beginning, I'm pretty sure if you look at the data site specification, it's not trivial. Immediately, you know, if you look at it, oh gosh, there is a lot to be done and mapped. But actually, at the end of the day, it is not different from the core data. I think it's also, you know, the adoption of that, in my view, it's also associated to how people see data med to be, you know, supported by the NIH, or I don't want to say mandate, but this is the thing. If people see data med as one of the, you know, of the prototype of a project that one is finished, you know, nobody will ask them to create the data format. They won't care. If NIH says, you know, data med is the way that your data is going to be indexed, then people will make the effort. I'm sorry to be blunt here, but I think that plays also a big role.
I think I sort of have a little different opinion on that. I think the like, for example, like the right after that the desktop is Omics DI. And both project is funded by NIH. And like say, if the Omics DI cannot make an effort to adopt that, and that can represent certain issues. You know,
I agree with you. I fully agree with you. But on the other side, somebody reviewed that project is a little bit detached from BioCAD as well.
I mean, I just say, I mean, on that particular thing, I don't think, has there really been any, at this point, any sense of engagement around the question of DATs between Omics DI and BioCAD? I don't know that we've even got to the question of whether they can or can't implement it. I don't think the question has even been raised or thought about.
Oh, no, it has. Ian, yes, absolutely. There was an email exchange with Lucilla. I thought you were CC'd, but if you're not, I'm happy to forward. There was a while back with Lucilla and Pei. There was a while back where indeed Henning said it was not part of the supplement for Omics DI to export in that. But, you know, if you want us to do it, then let's share the work. And that's why Alejandro and Philippe have done the mapping between the Omics DI and that. And then now it's the Omics DI task to implement it, but was not part of the original supplement, but was never even taught originally because the two awards were, in a way, you know, different, separated.
So I remember, like, say, we have some early discussion that the George Otter's database will try to adopt the DATs and then have tried it out. And I don't know how much progress is on that.
I'm sorry, there were. Sorry.
So you're talking about George's ICSPR database.
Yeah.
You know, they've been working on it. I don't know if they're. Because I know, Susanna, I know that they sent you some sample documents, I believe, right? At some point.
So I think they sent Shaoling some sample documents, right? In the JSON format, correct?
They have an API that we can access it to the
So they already have an API where they said they could export the JSON document for us.
I'm sorry,
Sorry,
not
what's the database?
exactly
Yeah,
which database.
Sorry, could you repeat that again, Susanna?
I think Alejandra and I asked at the same time the same question. Which database you refer to? I could not hear
this
that.
is the ICPSR, George Altus.
Ah, okay.
So I think my point really is that, say, we have a lot of internal repositories. I mean, internal means like internal to BioCaddy program. And if, like, say, internally we haven't really tested how to adopt best, it's hard to, like, say, for NIH to have a mandate, for other repositories. So in a sense, we don't have a complete circle yet.
Well, no, but we do. It's sort of being implemented in from two sides, right? So the model is being, so the former 1.x model is what's currently there, right, in the prototype, and then the new data sources are aligning to the 2.x model, which will then be brought in the prototype. So we are testing the data model in the sense of how it's represented in the indices. The question now is, with the newer DATs and the outreach to the repositories, which repositories are able to provide that information in DATs itself? And there are a couple, as we've mentioned, that are working on it, but nothing completely finalized yet.
So that's where my question about follow-up comes in. Are they trying to do it and they're running into problems, but they're not telling us about it? Or are they looking at it and discarding it? Because ultimately, with any of this, if nobody uses it, then we may have created some nice tools, but it has to be used in order to be really effective and thoroughly integrated into not just DataMed, but into the commons.
I mean, looking at this sequence of sessions, and certainly the first 4, I'm not so sure about the 5th for reasons I'll come to, but rather than pushing heavily, it wasn't my intent in what I was suggesting that the agenda here is to be putting anyone on the spot and saying, why aren't you using DATs? The theme here is that Omics DI, Lynx, and CEDAR, to a significant degree, have been looking at some level of synergy or collaboration with DataMed and BioCaddy. And the opportunity here is to talk about, having these on the agenda. We're not specifically looking for an update on each of these projects. This is the BioCaddy all hands meeting that this is being surfaced at, so there should be a bit of a BioCaddy focus to it. And the focus for each of these would be around how are they connecting to and integrating with BioCaddy, and how is that going? Now, DATs may show up as part of that, but it's not the front and center part of the agenda. So I think those first 4 sessions here sort of fit with that theme. My question around Aztec is, I can't squeeze Aztec into that scope because, to my knowledge, there hasn't been the same level of combined discussion with Aztec, between Aztec and BioCaddy, unless I'm just not aware of it, but I didn't think there had been. But the basic point here is to remove, the agenda here is not around conformance to DATs. The agenda here is synergistic and collaborative indexing efforts.
But I actually think I thought Omics DI is a supplement of Biocaity.
It is.
And I think it's kind of nature to ask them to map their schema to that. And if they wouldn't do it, maybe it's also good to learn why.
Well, may I say, I think I should clarify what it's not just a supplement to BioCAD. Omics DI, it's part of the Heart to BD2K project center that Ping leads. And that was already part of the grant, like a mini datamed for omics in their grant. Now, the supplement was done to try to somehow align what they were doing with what we are doing, but was an afterthought, if you see what I mean. Therefore, there was no, scope to try to have the same model.
Yeah, my understanding is they also provide a mapping between their model and to that now, and I don't see any reason why if they wouldn't do the mapping, if they don't want to move forward, at least let us know what's going on there, why. I mean, otherwise, we spend all this much of time just for nothing.
And NIH has spent a significant chunk of change in a supplement for nothing. I mean, that's not what we want to see, to be utterly blunt about it.
In the same room around the same table to really discuss these kinds of issues, rather than have teleconferences or disjointed conversations on the phone or by email. We're all in the same room, and so this is an ideal opportunity to resolve these kinds of questions.
Mm-hmm. I guess we still have a lot of items do we have?
So the only other thing that I really think we should talk about is the International Data Week.
Do you mind before you change the topic? Okay, so just to wrap up what we said, I'm still going to do the presentation the same way we discussed with Jeff, but I think it will be very good that, Ian, you talk to Lucilla and somehow someone try to introduce the session so that at least give us a direction for the discussion. And I've just sent to you and to Jeff what was the so-called agreement with Omics DI, but reading it again, that email doesn't say that they're going to export in DAS. Therefore, I don't really know what they will do.
Okay. Yeah, that background will be helpful, Susanna, and any other background that you think helps shed light on it would be welcome.
Oh, that's all I know, actually.
Okay.
So might I also suggest that if enough of us are around for dinner the night before, we try to get together either before or after or during dinner to nail.
Sure.
Yeah, I think we'll all be there. We reach probably around 6 o'clock or so.
Yeah, Saturday evening, it will be good. Yeah.
Anu, can you see about seeing who can be available at what time?
Sure. I also just wanted to ask if either Jeff or Susanna are going to touch upon the collaborations that we have, since Ian mentioned that. With CEDAR, with links.
Certainly with CEDAR, Jeff, you have done more because you have been on the call.
Yeah, I mean, we can. I can bring in a slide on CEDAR as well in mind.
Okay. And I'll talk with Alejandra too, so that at least, okay, so we can share that one. and then I can do one with Yomics DI. We don't have anything done with links directly. At least we haven't.
So,
Well,
okay. Go ahead, Ron. Hello?
Lost it?
Ron?
yeah, I'm still here.
So you started to say something.
Oh, I'm sorry. With links, Stefan Schur is going to be present, and he's one of the leads for the Data Coordinating Center for the links.
Yeah, he's on the agenda there. But, I mean, as far as, Jeff, links is indexed, right?
Yes, yeah, and we have been getting feedback from them as well.
So I think there's a fairly strong collaboration. I mean, Anu, I think that's what we're looking to hear about here, and as my understanding it is there's something fairly substantive here.
Yeah, and there's a tie-in there because links is proposed as one of the so-called reference data sets that's going to be used to populate the commons.
Did we have anybody from links attending the June workshop?
No.
No. Okay.
But we've had very extensive feedback from Katie, who's part of
Yes.
who's at Links.
Okay, it's great then.
So they've got a very specific title there, which is Fair Dataset Landing Pages for Links and BD2K. So how does that connect in with BioCaddy? Is the metadata they're putting on those landing pages?
Well, this could be, Ian, that could be the landing pages from the Force 11 supplement Tim Clark would present, which is exactly another reason of discussion, as you remember, is to try to align their landing page to be, a subset of what DATS has.
Right. And then one of the questions has been around what's the metadata that goes on these landing pages? And the question is, one of the questions has been what's the metadata we want on a landing page? And another question is what's the metadata that we need for indexing? And my question is, are the two different or the same? And personally, I think understanding the use cases, I think they're very much the same, but that's just me.
Oh, I would agree with you, but I think here Jeff knows more because Jeff, you are part of the executive group, correct, of that supplement
For
the landing page.
No? For which one?
Sorry, the one that Tim Clark would present.
Oh yeah, the one with Tim, yes.
And actually, is there a final metadata that they have that we could even compare it to that?
They have a draft document that they're preparing.
Right.
They point to the DATS metadata model itself.
Ah.
From what I remember.
But has there been, Jeff, I'm not aware of any communication between links and the group about these landing pages.
Yeah, that that I'm not clear on because I wasn't.
And that's okay, but it would be a useful focus to say, hey, here's what links have decided on is important for their landing page.
Right, and I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I don't think anyone from the links group attended the June meeting.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
And that's not a problem. It just the value in this, something one can pull out of this session is to say,
right.
Well, this adds to the dialogue of what should a landing page be for a data set.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because this is, so the question is what, because this is sort of a new thing that Lynx is mentioning. So the question is, how have they actually implemented that? That would be.
They could have come to that completely independently from the 4011 supplement. But Jeff, if there is any chance that you could ask the group if they can share already their initial metadata element, that could be useful, because at least I could have a slide where we also show somehow, hopefully, the alignment between that and the elements in the landing page.
Yeah, no, I can get you. I can find that. I can find the doc and forward that.
That'd be fantastic. And one other pending issue actually is that I haven't heard any more from Martin regarding the data site and the export into that. Do you know? Have you received anything anymore from him?
No, but I know he was traveling. He had. Yeah, he was away for a little bit. But let me here.
But that will be
I can
another.
follow up on that.
Okay, because I will create also one slide on that, so that we can show the also data site it's exporting in that, the subset of relevant metadata that they receive. Okay.
So the Martin actually was in the working group that I had in June, and he at the time, I think Phil is like that is pretty complex, but it would be interesting to see, like, after the workshop, like if he has some other thought on it.
After that way, Philippe, I think, and Jeff and Martin had a call, and so
we had a couple calls following up because Martin's providing some services that expose some data site data, and so that's is sort of where that's at.
Okay.
So
yeah, I think some update that would be really helpful.
Anna, this is Ian. I have to leave.
All right. So I guess we are over the time, but I just wanted to briefly talk about the International Data Week from SciDataCon. On the 12th. Monday we will have presentations, BioCaddy presentation. Lucilla is giving a presentation. I think Susanna is chairing a session, and Hua will give a presentation as well in the afternoon. And I believe, Jeff, you're going to do a demo, right, for RDA?
Yeah, for RDA, I sent in that information today. For the bird of a feather, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I sent them the information on that.
And so one of the things was that whoever from BioCaddy is going to stay on for RDA. There are a couple of places that we will have BioCaddy representation, and if it would be possible to attend those sessions and support the speakers, that would be great.
We have a list of all the sessions for RDA, or I know there was one from
I think Ian is
Devard at Elsevier had sent something around, and then there was the bird of a feather session, right? Were there any other?
Relevant to data searches. I think you're right. The one with Anita and Elsevier. To be honest, I haven't even printed yet the entire agenda.
I haven't either, because I just got back from an hour south of you yesterday. So.
So this, Susanna, the joint meeting of Elixir Bridging Force, that's what you're chairing, right?
Well, I'm kind of organizing it, but the problem is this meeting, you organize them and then they go on their own. Yes, I have actually 3 sessions where we have biosharing joined with another group, but it tends to be more around standards, biosharing, and type of that kind of things, rather than data searches.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the best way to do it is always to go and see the individual session what the topic is. Sometimes the title is not that helpful.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to bring it to everybody's notice. However, from UT Health here, none of us will be attending the RDA session. But I believe George, you, Ian, Ron, and Jeff are going to be there.
Yeah, actually, Mark Musin sent out a note at the end of last week in which he summarized a lot of the sessions that are relevant with the times. I don't know how far he sent it around, but I know it came into my inbox.
I haven't seen it, so no.
I haven't seen it
All right.
either.
Okay, let me
Ron, can you forward it?
I'll forward it.
All right, thank you.
Actually, one note for the NIH team. I know that, is it correct that Phil Bourne is giving a keynote on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay, and
do we know what he'll be talking about? No.
no, okay.
Yeah. So with Phil, he sometimes comes in with a stock with a prepared talk, and sometimes he'll sort of read the room and then make some remarks based on that.
Okay.
So I just don't know where he's going to go.
Right. Okay. Well, usually has a data med slide in his set.
I would assume so. Yeah.
So I don't think we have time for any of the other items on the agenda. So if that's all, then see you all in person, probably on Saturday evening. I'll get in touch with everybody with regard to where and what and how.
Okay. Sounds good. Safe travels, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Anu, are you still there?
Yes.
So did we want to set up maybe sometime tomorrow with Xiaoling?
I'm sorry, with who?
Xiaoling? Is it Xiaoling?
Xiaoling?
For the NLP?
Oh, actually, you know what? If you want, do you have time now, Xiaoling? Maybe tomorrow? Maybe tomorrow? Okay.
Yeah, what time tomorrow are you?
Sure, let me look at my calendar quickly and then
Like,
tomorrow should
we could do the same time. Noon would work for me, which would be 2 o'clock your time, right?
2 o'clock will work. You think we'll be done within an hour because we have a working group 9 meeting?
It shouldn't. Yeah, we should definitely be done. Yeah.
Okay. So 2 o'clock tomorrow will work then.
Okay.
Anu and Jeff, this is George. Before you log off, first of all, is there a WG9 call today?
Tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Okay, good. Well, I didn't miss it. I called in for that and wound up at the tail end of your other thing. But I did have a question, especially for the two of you. I do want to get people together to look at these, repository decisions. And it just seemed crazy to try to fit in another call this week. Do you think that there's a time slot where we might be able to do it next Sunday?
Sunday, I think George might be would have been a really, really long day.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Anu, are you guys going to be around on Monday, or are you leaving?
No, we'll be around. I think actually the people that you want, which is going to be Ruling and me, we are going to be around until Wednesday.
Okay, good. So we could find
So we
maybe
can
find a
find
time
some
Monday or
time.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Good. That's what I'll try to do. I'll look at the Psi Datacon schedule and try to and schedule that. If you're gonna, I was afraid you were leaving right after the all hands meeting, but if you're gonna be around on Monday and Tuesday, that makes it a lot easier.
We'll also be there on Wednesday, so Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, whenever I think will work.
Yeah, actually Wednesday I haven't looked at the schedule at all. That's this international
Data week, yeah. So.
Yeah, the Indian, yeah.
Yeah, so that might be even easier. Good. Okay. Good. Thank you.
All right.
That helps. Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Okay,
So Jeff,
and
I sent out a meeting invitation.
And what was the working group 9? What was that? Was
That's the one with the user, so we're basically talking about the usability.
okay.
Would you like to be in on those?
Oh no, I was just wondering why. Okay, no. I mean, if you want me there, I can, depending on the time.
It's usually every 2 weeks on Wednesdays at 3.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah, I mean, I can. If you send me the information, I can.
Yeah, you can call in if you would like to.
Okay.
And also for the slides, I'm actually gonna kind of try and have them, at least the working group slides, sent in to Lucilla. I don't know if she asked us for anything else. I don't remember.
I mean, it's sort of like she wanted one slide on each working group.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's on my to-do for tomorrow. So.
Okay. And then if you want to also maybe we probably should put all our slide deck together for the CDT as well.
Yes.
So I'm hoping we'll get it done sometime soon. I don't know. Because Fuad's going to be traveling again. And he's going to come directly to Denver. So maybe actually the day if we are going to meet, when do you arrive, Jeff?
Late Saturday.
Oh. Okay, because I think it would be great to actually meet up on Saturday evening to put everything together, because Sunday morning is going to get a little hectic.
Yeah, no, because I have, I'll send my slides by Thursday for everything.
Okay. That'll work.
Yeah, it's just that my daughter has her first tournament for the high school volleyball team on that Saturday. So,
okay.
It's up to Temecula, so I have to drive all the way back from Temecula to the airport. So I have a late flight out just so that I don't miss it.
Okay. All right. So then, so you won't be able to meet for Susanna's, for what they want to do also for Saturday evening, right? Or should I try and schedule it for after? So are you coming very late?
Well, I'm coming late. I can always, hold on, I'm trying to figure out where my, hold on. I'm trying to find my flight confirmation here. I'm sorry, just